so magical. You know, you just sort of use the earth as a giant heat sink, and you keep putting the coolant down there, and it just keeps picking up the heat because the earth is sort of an infinite heat sink.
Yeah.
And it's going to work forever. It's not going to mess up the aquifer, and it's going to keep that building a nice temperature. So I like that a lot.
Basic concept here is, one of them is when a gas expands or when a liquid evaporates, it absorbs heat. And that's one of the parts of the heat pump. What I'm going to do here is just draw a simple diagram. This is kind of the dividing line between the cold side and the hot side of the heat pump system. And over here, I'm going to draw an X here. This is called the throttling valve. And over here, there's some pipes that run through a heat exchanger, and then back through to through a compressor, which I'll symbolize with that, and then over through another heat exchanger over here, and then back through. It's just two loops, one on the cold side and one on the warm side. And the expansion that causes the gas to cool off and absorb heat happens after this valve. This is the high pressure side. And this is the low pressure side. And as the refrigerant comes through this valve called the throttling valve, it expands into this low pressure area, which causes the, at this point it's liquid, it causes the liquid to go into a low pressure region. And when a liquid is in a low pressure area, it tends to evaporate much more quickly than in a higher pressure region. That's the simple way of describing it. When it evaporates in here, it cools off. And because it cools off, it becomes colder than the surrounding area. And so heat goes in. Heat goes into the coils here in the heat exchanger. Now, in the heat pump system in the Education Center, these coils are in a heat exchanger where the water from the ground is going through. And so what that means is the water, as it passes through this heat exchanger, is giving up heat, energy, to the coils here. So energy is actually going in. In other words, heat is energy. Okay, energy is going in. And that means the water that passes through this heat exchanger comes out colder than when it went in. So that means it has given up energy. And that's the free energy that we get from the ground. That's the geothermal energy.